Knows Golden Nuggets Classic Series. There's the question of temperature from the one-hit wonder, The Balloon Farm, from 1967 on Laurie Records. On the Closet Classic Theater and the Summit on Mr. Sports, taking you back on a magic carpet ride to that magical decade of the 60s. Ting MARKULIN from the Human Beings, our special guest tonight, Youngstown's very own legends. Ting, you've looked at the evolution. You're still involved with music, correct, or no?
Yes.
Because I know the last time I saw you a number of years ago, you were with a band called
Route 66.
Route 66, and I remember you doing some CD work then. How much has music changed over the years? Do you still enjoy it as much as maybe the 60s or even the 70s?
Well, not really. I mean, I don't enjoy the way that rock has gone. I mean, I basically like classic rock, and I mean, like the late 60s and the 70s were absolutely just phenomenal to me. The groups were just out of this world, you know. I mean, it got so good, and then I don't know what happened, but it started dropping off, and now, you know, I'm just it doesn't hold my interest now. So if I'm doing something, I'm either doing songs from back then, or I'm writing songs that sound like they should be back then.
Right.
Know? And I mean, I know it's not going to really be popular with a lot of people anymore, but that's, you know, that's where my heart is, and that's where I'm going to stay.
How young of a man are you now?
Be 72 in August.
God bless you. 72 in August. Wow. Congratulations. Still going strong. Who are some of the groups that you admired, either prior to or while you and the Human Beings were out there on stage doing your thing?
Well, I'm saying, of course, a lot of the groups I didn't get to see because we were playing, but I mean, we were absolutely crazy about Hendrix, and you know, and Cream, those you know, and then Clapton eventually, whatever he did. The James Gang was really, I mean, because we knew them personally, and they were a great band. A lot of the bands, the Beach Boys, we toured with the Beach Boys, and I never realized how good they were until I heard them live on stage. Just absolutely.
The harmony.
Oh, you know, and well, this was 1968. They were the first time that we did stage volume. You know, when we set up, we had no mics on our amps. We always had our amps on 10. That was it. That is full volume, and that's how we played. And we had a PA system that just our voices came through. They had you know, a board and snakes, and they hung speakers up at every hall we did. They had a 22-piece orchestra besides the group, and everybody was mic'd. And I never saw this before. And when that engineer set all that up, it was a recording.
Wow.
It was a blend that you just couldn't get live, you know, just stage volume off of your amplifiers or whatever. And the orchestra would have never been heard over the amplifiers. It just all was, I mean, it eventually, that's what everything turned into.
Ting MARKULIN of the Human Beings, an original member and a proud member of Youngstown's very own. We talked a little bit earlier, you guys were with the smallish, independent, Pittsburgh-based Gateway Records. How do you get picked up by Capitol? I mean, you're talking about a record label that had produced some of the all-time greats, Frank Sinatra, the Beach Boys, the Beatles, and here come the Human Beings. Were you guys intimidated to be on Capitol?
Not really. We never got to meet any of those people. What they did was we recorded in Cleveland, and they just took the, you know, finished product back to Hollywood and pressed it or whatever, but we never really got to. They took us out there one time to use their studio. Now, I'm kind of talking technically a little bit, but Cleveland Recording had an 8-track studio. And so we're thinking Capitol Records. So we're thinking we're going to go in there and they're going to have like you know, a machine that's from one end of the room to the other with all these tracks. They had a 4-track machine.
Wow.
And I walked in there and the engineer was sitting there, you know, it had four big knobs for each channel. And it looked like something out of the, you know, 50s or 40s. And I said, wow, it's only a 4-track machine, you know. He heard me. And he looked at me and he said, hey, buddy, I said, yeah. He goes, if it's good enough for Frank Sinatra, it's good enough for me.
Wow. He gave it back to you, Ting. Come on now.
He smacked me right in the face.
Ting Markulin of the Human Beings. We'll take you back as we focus on the 1960s, again to 1969 Metro Media Records. Carly Simon actually sang briefly with this group. They're from New York City. They are renowned mostly for their backing vocals and their help with John and Yoko Ono, John Lennon and Yoko Ono, following the soon-to-be breakup of the Beatles. Here's Elephant's Memory and the Raucous Mongoose on the Summit and the Theater.